Postgraduate work permit extensions. We have been all waiting for that. Postgraduate work permit 2023 extension policy finally was launched and announced today. I know a lot of you have so many questions, so many doubts, what you can do, what you can't do, how can you do it, what can be done about it. All of that we will cover in today's short video. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir. I'm a CICC licensed immigration consultant, and this channel is all about Canadian immigration news updates, things you should do, things you definitely should not, and getting on with this postgraduate work permit policy. I know over the last week, there has been quite a few emails that has been coming from IRCC. A lot of you were getting a bit tensed. Some of you received it, some of you not. So let's take that. First, on the 31st of March, IRCC started sending out emails to some of you out there whose work permits are expiring later in the year. I do not know from which date onwards they're counting this later in the year, but I'm assuming it's some part of the, let's say, the later half of the year. So after the June of this year, if your work permits 2023 are expiring, postgraduate work permits were expiring June and later, then you would have received this email which said that you can opt in for a simplified process. Good, great. If that's the option that you had, now in your application, you would be rather in your GCK account, you would be able to log in and you would be able to choose postgraduate work permit public policy. And in that, you will be able to choose opt in if you are eligible for that. But there are a couple of conditions and we'll talk about that very quickly. If you are eligible for that, you would be able to get your work permit within, I think, by June itself, they would be sending you the work permit in mail. So that's a simplified process whereby you don't have to pay a fee and you get the work permit. Now, but you don't have to worry if you didn't get this email. It's all right. If your work permit is already expired or is expiring soon, then you wouldn't have been considered eligible for this policy, and therefore you wouldn't have received this email. So when I'm talking about the policy, I'm talking about this opt-in simplified process. And in that case, you can still apply for the extension. So don't worry about it. Now, since yesterday, they have also started sending out interim work authorizations that are valid until the month of May 2024. Now, a lot of you are wondering, why is it until May? Because they said they're going to give us 18 months of extension, but this is until May, which is not 18 months. What are they doing? Confusion. Guys, this is interim, means during the time that they will complete the processing of your work permit, they want you to still work, have a valid status and work in Canada. And therefore, they have given you this interim work authorization, which basically means you can take your old work permit, attach or clip this interim work authorization to it, give it to your employer and say, by law, IRCC has now allowed you to continue working. And this is your interim work authorization, which is valid until May of next year, which just is a period of time that IRCC needs or is looking to buy out in case the process is delayed or in case your actual work permit processing has been delayed. That's all. That's all this means. Interim work authorization means it's a stopgap process where they just want to sort of get some time to process your work permits. But the link on how you can process your work permits, the postgraduate work permit, this time they made the website and everything is quite simple, quite straightforward. There are a lot of directions there. The link is in the description of the video, so you don't have to worry where the link is. Once you click on the link, this is where you will come. You will come to this web page which says how to get an open work permit for some current and former post-graduation work permit holders. And we're going to talk about the validity period. Now, this says that you are eligible to get an extension of your postgraduate work permit, which, by the way, is only a one-time in your life affair. If your work permit, if your original postgraduate work permit is expiring or has expired between the 20th of September 2021 until 31st of December 2023. That is the long period that they have given you. Now, this will actually also benefit some people whose work permit had expired, who had got an extension and who are now eligible to get another extension. You guys are really, really lucky. So if your work permit actually expired in, let's say, September of 2021 or October or November or December of 2021, and you actually did manage to get an extension, which is now expiring now, anytime now, you will still be eligible to apply for another extension. Isn't that amazing, right? Because this is when your original, that's what the text is. when your original post-graduation work permit was expiring. So this is a good one, but let's get on to what you need to do here. If you have received the email which says you can opt in for a simplified process, simply click on yes. You will come to this particular page where it says all you need to do is that you need to reside in Canada. Your mailing address on the letter, on your post-graduation work permit letter, is correct, and that there is no change in your mailing address, and that your passport information is up to date, and that your expiration date of your passport is after the 25th of, or after the month of June 2025. The reason why they are saying June 2025 is that even if your work permit is expiring 31st of December, 18-month extension would mean June of 2025. Now, they can only give you the extension as per the validity of your passport or as per the 18 months extension. So if your passport is expiring sooner or earlier, then you will get passport validity extension. So basically, your work permit will be valid only until the validity of your passport. And therefore, what you need to do if your passport is expiring, in order to get advantage of this opt-in process, you simply need to basically go into your IRCC secure account before the May 20th, 2023, and you need to choose opt-in in that section. That's all you need to do. All the directions, all the information is here. What you need to do is log into your account, select post-graduation work permit holder, extend your work permit, and then just say opt-in. The minute you say that, you will not get any acknowledgement or something as such, but the minute you click on opt-in and submit, that's it. Within the next 2 months, let's say by the month of June, but give IRCC another month or two, don't freak out if that doesn't happen. By June or worst case July, you should get a new work permit, extended work permit in mail in your mailbox. There is no fee for this. This is all you need to do. If obviously you do not have a GCK account, or if you applied for your postgraduate work permit by flag polling at the border, you can still link your postgraduate work permit application to a GCK account. And again, you can also click on opt-in if you have that option there. And by that, you would be able to get your work permit in a simplified manner. This is basically all that you have to do. There are some other questions if you might have. The questions have been given an answer over here. For example, if you opted in for simplified process and you don't get the work permit by July 31st, I told you give them an extra month, right? So if you don't get a work permit by July 31st in the mailbox, for whatever the reason might be, you can still apply to get a work permit. So you can still come back, make an application online, and you would still be able to apply. All right. So that's the answer to the first question, that what if you don't get the work permit in your mailbox? Next one. If your postgraduate work permit expires before your new work permit arrives, let's say your work permit is expiring on, 1st of July, and your work permit, the actual one, comes in the mail only later in the month. Then in this case, during this week, they are sending out the interim work authorization. So if you haven't received, please don't freak out. You will probably receive it in a day or two, or this week itself. Everybody is getting their interim work authorizations. You will still be allowed to work. Your work permit will come in the mail, so you don't have to worry. If your work permit doesn't come, then you have to apply for you'll have to actually come back and apply for the extension. Now, if you received a work permit under a previous postgraduate work permit policy, this doesn't apply to everybody. This applies only to those people, even if you applied under a previous public policy, as long as your original postgraduate work permit, the one that has been issued to you after your studies, if that expired on or after the 20th of September and is expiring until 31st of December, you will still be eligible to get another extension. I'm telling you, this is incredible. This is really, really lucky for those of you who actually are eligible for something like this. If your original, again, I'm stressing upon this, if your original postgraduate work permit, the work permit that you were issued after completing your studies, if that expired before the 20th of September, then unfortunately, you will not be eligible for this public policy. Now, if you don't want a work permit, obviously don't do anything, don't apply at all. Now, this is a question for SIN, people who are wondering, how do I get my SIN? How do I update my SIN? Now, IRCC has clarified very, very clearly over here, to get your SIN, you need to have your work permit. You cannot use your interim work authorization to get your SIN. So simply continue working. It's not a problem. However, to update your SIN number, you need to have your original work permit, the extended work permit, only then will you be able to extend your SIN. So that's the information for the SIN. However, let's get back to the original. So this was for people who have this opt-in email that has been sent to them and they were eligible. That is, you are inside Canada, your address is the same, and your work permit address is the same, and your passport expiry is, let's say, until June 2025. Go ahead and choose opt-in. Wait until July. You will get a work permit in the mailbox, and that's all. You don't need to do anything else now. But if you are not eligible, if you did not get this email, if your work permit is already expired, then the next one is for you. You will choose no to this question. Have you got the email? Say no. Where are you applying from? If you are inside Canada or outside Canada. For guys who are outside Canada, it's quite simple. Even if you are outside Canada, even if your work permit expired, original postgraduate work permit expired before 20th of September until 31st of December, no problem. Just click on the outside Canada link, follow the directions, follow the document checklist, and you will still be able to apply. We'll very quickly go to outside Canada first because it's very simple and straightforward. You will be able to come to this page. It will tell you what you can do. You must apply online for this work permit before 31st of December 2023. You can't apply at the port of entry, so you cannot flagpole for this, and you can get only this work permit once. It will not be extended. And here, again, make sure your your passport is valid, and that is what you need to do. And that's basically it. You go online, go onto the IRCC website, click you want to come to Canada, click choose work permit, and then from there on the directions. And then again, all the directions have been mentioned over here. You will have to complete out a form, IMM 5710. The directions are here as well. Follow that, pay the fee, and you're good to go. All right. So that's for people who are outside Canada, but most of you are inside Canada. And let's take a look at this one. If you're inside Canada, you'll click on in Canada. Who can apply? I just said again and again, I'm saying, repeating it again. If your work permit, original postgraduate work permit is has expired 20th of September 2021 until 31st of December 2023, you'll be eligible. You must include in your application the fact that you're applying for an open work permit under the public policy. This is very important. You have to add a letter of explanation stating you are making this application under the postgraduate 2023 extension public policy. You have to have a valid work permit, a passport. Of course, if your passport is expiring sooner, please apply for extension. Please apply for renewal of your passport. Once you get a renewed passport, then you can apply for extension. Even if your work permit expires, do not worry about it. Even if your work permit expires, you will be able to restore your status. You will be able to continue working because you have the interim work authorization. But apply for the new work permit only after you've got your passport renewed. So the sooner you get it, the better it would be, and you'll be able to get it regularized, right? If your postgraduate work permit is still valid, the work permit that will be issued to you will be for 18 months from the date your current work permit expires. This is for people who are wondering how long will the validity of my work permit be? Will it be for this period of time, this period of time? So if your work permit is valid as of now or whenever, you will be given a new work permit for the 18 months from the date your existing work permit is expiring. So if it expires on 31st of December, you will get work permit extension until June of 2025. If your work permit is expiring earlier, then obviously 18 months from that time. Now, if your work permit has already expired, it expired in Jan, Feb, March, April, whenever, then in your case, the extension or the validity of your new work permit is going to be from 18 months from the date that they choose, or they have decided your application is fine and they approve your application, 18 months from that date. So that is also pretty cool. However, your passport needs to be valid. That is a very, very important factor. So make sure your passport is valid. That way you can get the maximum duration of your work permit, which is 18 months. Now, even if you have changed your status, let's say you applied for visitor record, let's say you applied for study permit, let's say you applied for closed work permit, in any of these conditions, no matter what happened, even if you applied for temporary resident permit or have received it, in all these conditions, you will still be eligible to apply for this postgraduate work permit extension. It doesn't matter. Study permit, visitor record, visit visas, another work permit, closed work permit, TRP, you will still be eligible, okay? If you have lost your status, you do not have a status anymore, you did not apply for anything, your restoration, if you are within the 90 days restoration period, of course, you can apply for restoration. Even if your restoration period has expired, if you're outside the 90 days restoration period, you will still be able to restore your status and get a new work permit. That is also been made very, very clear over here. Yeah, again, the same thing. If your postgraduate work permit expired before the 20th of September, you will not be eligible. If it expired after 20th of September until the 31st of December this year, you would be eligible. Now, what do you need to do? You need to go online on the IRCC website. And this is for everybody who is not choosing the opt-in feature. So even if you are eligible for the opt-in feature, let's say there's a change in address, let's say there is a change in passport or whatever it be, don't choose opt-in, choose opt-out, leave that alone and apply for a new work permit using the directions over here. Okay, that is as simple as it is. In this, what you will need to do is, let me just open this page for you. Hold on. I'm going to show you the form that you need to complete. Of course, I'm sure most of you are already familiar with the form. This is IMM 5710. In this form, this is the most important form that you will be completing as part of your application. Please choose apply for a work permit for the first time. It doesn't matter. I know you're applying it not for the first time, you're applying it again. You can choose apply for work permit for the first time or with a new employer. And with this, if you are out of status already, or you are applying to restore your status, even if your status is expired or you're outside the 90-day period, click here as well, restore my status as a worker. You need to do that if you're out of status. It's extremely important. You can fill the rest of the forms. I'm sure it's not very complicated at all. It's quite simple and straightforward. But as we move forward, and the important bit is here, details of intended work in Canada. This section you need to fill. Here you need to choose open work permit. Do not choose postgraduate work permit. Please choose open work permit here. And in this section, my occupation in Canada will be under the job title. Please put 2023 postgraduate work permit PGWP PP open, public policy open. Please mention that. And in your job description of duties, please mention open work permit. These are important directions that has been given by IRCC. Make sure you follow this. This could be a way of how they are trying to sort out the different forms and applications in a quick manner so that they can process your work permit. Again, these directions have also been indicated on the IRCC website. And let me show you, where did it go? Hold on. This information you will also find on this particular page. When you would have clicked, it tells you special instructions for this public policy. You need to choose open work permit. You need to write 2023 postgraduate PP open, and you need to write open work permit under the brief description of duties. So if you follow these directions, you will not have a problem at all. Now you need to pay your fees, of course, for the work permit, right? Now, usually when you're applying for an open work permit, you have to pay $155 for the work permit and another $100 for the open work permit. In this case, you are exempt from paying the open work permit fee. You don't have to pay. You just have to pay $155 for the application fee. That's all. Now, do not pay through the online portal. Do not choose. You are exempt from paying the fee, but pay the fee separately. The link is again on the screens here. You can follow this link. It will tell you how you can pay the fee. You must pay the work permit processing fee of $155. Biometric fee $85 if that's applicable to you. The restoration fee of $229.77 if that's applicable to you. As I said, how to pay the fee, the link is again here. It has been described in detail. Please follow it. You will not have a problem. Do not be in a hurry. Do not be in a rush. If you will follow these directions, you will not make a mistake. So when you are going on an online application, do not pay the fee online through the portal. Pay the fee through this separate account. That way you have to pay $100 less. You have to pay the fee and you have to upload the receipt along with your application. That is the important factor. So after you have paid the fee, take a PDF copy of the receipt and then upload it along with this. In this application, please make sure that you upload a letter that says you are applying for an open work permit under the 2023 public policy, and make sure you also add the copy of your fee receipt. Please, once you've done that, then you have submitted your application, you're good to go. You don't have to really add any more documents. Of course, add a copy of your current work permit. That's always a good idea. Add, as I said, add this letter of explanation. You don't need any job documents. You don't need any employment letters. You don't need any employment reference letters. You don't need your study permit. You don't need any other documents. But it's not there's no harm in adding some of those documents, though it has no relevance in this application. The only relevance is that you should be eligible, of course. So provide your existing or the current work permit, which is expired or expiring. Provide obviously copy of your valid passport, your photograph, and the fee receipt, very important. And of course, this form that you need to complete, which is also equally extremely important. That's pretty much it. That's all that you need to do. Now, there are so many questions around this, and I'm going to answer that one by one as to anything different than what I've not already covered. Once again, if your passport has expired or expiring, please do not opt in. It does not have, there is not a problem. You can extend your passport and then make the, apply for your extension. If your address has changed, don't opt in. Simply apply for a new extension with your new address. There is no problem. These are the two most common questions asked. Now, another very, very important and a common question asked is about spouse open work permit. What do you do if you have a spouse whose work permit is also expiring along with you? What do you do in that case? Now, if your spouse's work permit has already expired, then obviously in order to be in status, you would have changed the status. You would have ideally applied for a visitor record. In that case, when you are applying for your extension, along with your extension, you can also apply for your spouse's open work permit. In that open work permit, please include your employment letter with job description, salary, working hours, just a regular employment letter that you would include for any spouse open work permit. Please make sure you include that, and also include 3 to 4 current most recent pay stubs. That is a requirement. This is applicable for all spouse open work permit applications anyway. Of course, you can pay the fee through the through the portal itself. There is no exemption of fees there, so you will have to pay $255, and if biometric fee is applicable. This is for people whose work permits are expiring, spouse open work permits. You can apply together with your work permit. They will not be given automatic extensions. They will not be given work authorizations. If you have the opt-in option, but you also have a spouse for who you want to apply for the open work permit, simply don't choose the opt-in. Don't opt in. Choose to apply for the extensions. That way you can apply for your spouse's open work permit along with yours, and your spouse will have an open, will also be on an implied status and can continue working. There is no problem, and will also get the extension once you get yours. Another common question was for people who applied for fake extensions earlier, right? Obviously, you wanted to stay in status. You did not want to lose your status. You want to be on implied status, etc., etc. Now, if the decision has not been made on your previous fake extensions, means you are still on an implied status. In this case, you can apply for the postgraduate work permit extension policy. Because you are on an implied status, obviously you are not out of status, you don't need to pay restoration fee. However, please explain, provide a letter of explanation. Let them know that you applied for a work permit earlier, you were on an implied status, therefore you did not lose your status, and now you are applying for a new work permit on the new work permit extension policy. Please make sure that you do that. This will keep you. And at this point of time, please do not withdraw or cancel your old applications that you have made, because if you do that, then you will become out of status, and then you will also need to restore your status. And if you haven't applied for restoration of status in your new application, it basically means that application will be refused or rejected. Now, if you do this towards the later half of the year, then 31st of December passes, you will realize you would have lost this opportunity and also go out of status. So please do not cancel or withdraw your old fake extension applications. If you have done any one of those, you're in implied status, that's fine. For people who are a bit skeptical as to what they should do with their fake extensions, that they're not sure, in that case, on the safer side of things, add the restoration fees as well with the new applications, and also apply for restoration just in case your previous public policy, previous fake extension is rejected just before you have submitted your application. Just to cover up the gray area there, you apply for restoration. It's a matter of $229. You're better safe than sorry, right? So do add that, include that. More important thing here is that you get your extension sorted and in order, and that's why it would work for you. Okay. I think I have covered most of your questions that are there. Again, very quickly, for very common questions, if your passport is expiring, don't choose opt-in. Simply apply for extension. That way your passport validity can be longer and you can apply for extension whenever throughout this year, whenever you're ready. If your address has changed, simply don't opt in. Apply for extension so that the work permit can come to your new address. If you're applying for spouse open work permit along with your application, don't opt in. Apply for the extension so that you can add your spouse's application along with yours. That's pretty much it, right? I mean, these are the main questions. This is what was happening. And this should basically give you a very, very simple understanding. The IRCC's website this time, I have to agree, they have done a decent job of it. They have really made it very, very simple. Just follow the IRCC's website. The link is in the description. If you follow it step by step, you would not get lost. You would not have any problem. It's quite simple. Do it yourself. Don't need to go to any consultant, any lawyer, any agent. There is no need to sort of go to anybody. Save your money for yourself and you would be able to do it yourself. So this was the postgraduate work permit extension policy. I'm glad IRCC got it back. I know a lot of you are squirming because it's only until 2023. 2024 applications are not included, the expiring in 2024. I'm not sure if they will bring the new policy again in the next year or not, but let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's hope they also get some relief from this whole system. But until such time, we can only hope and pray. That's all that I had to discuss with you tonight. I just wanted to let you know what you need to do because there are so many questions surrounding this. Thank you so much for joining in. Stay safe, take care, and good night.